At the engagement banquet, Xiaoshan's figure plummeted from the 6-meter-high ceremonial stage like a kite with its string cut, and the hand that pushed the kite down belonged to none other than her fiancé, Lu Yangju, the man who had once cherished her like a treasure. In the final moment before her consciousness sank into darkness, the horrified screams of the guests were torn into fragments. Yet the information pieced together revealed a meticulously orchestrated accident. Lu Yangju had suddenly suffered from low blood sugar, which accidentally caused him to lose his balance and pull her down. After a night of unconsciousness, she awoke to the pungent smell of disinfectant. Through the crack in the door, she saw Lu Yangju waiting outside, looking desolate, and a warm feeling stirred in her heart. Just as she was about to speak, her pupils contracted, and she hurriedly closed her eyes. A figure was kneeling before him. "Yangju, didn't Uncle Lu make it clear? He'll only hand over the Lu group to you if you marry Sister Xia." A familiar, coquettish female voice came through. "If he finds out on the wedding day, 7 days from now, that the bride has been switched to me, will he be so angry that he takes everything back? Don't be afraid." Lu Yangju's voice was filled with affection and determination. "From the day she agreed to marry me, Dad already handed the company over to me. On the wedding day, he'll be going abroad for recuperation and won't have any idea that I changed the bride at the last minute. What's done is done. I'll tell him later that you are the only woman I ever wanted to marry in this lifetime." Those few short sentences were like a knife dipped in ice, piercing straight through Xiaoshan's heart. The owner of that voice was none other than Xia Qingyu, the true heiress who had returned to the Xia family 3 years ago and taken everything from her. When the truth came to light back then, the Xia family knew full well that she was also a victim, yet they still cast aside over 20 years of upbringing and affection, treating her with cold indifference. At her most desperate moment, it was Lu Yangju, the man arranged for a marriage alliance, who was the only one not to distance himself because of her status as a fake heiress. Instead, he cherished and protected her even more, even moving up the wedding date just to help her escape the icy cage of the Xia family. But now, why is all this happening? Xia Qingyu seemed extremely satisfied with this answer. She chuckled softly, leaned in, and kissed him. "I'll listen to you. But, after all, you and Xia have had so many years of feelings. Doing this, do you really not feel sorry for her? How can she compare to you?" Lu Yangju sneered, his tone filled with undisguised contempt. "I had my eye on you ever since I sponsored your college education. Later, when I found out you were the true daughter of the Xia family, I became even more determined to marry you. As for Xia, she was just a tool I used to deal with my father. All the kindness I showed her was an act. I don't feel sorry for her. At most, I feel a bit guilty. I'll find an opportunity to make it up to her later." He paused, lowering his voice even further, but it exploded like thunder in Xiaoshan's ears. "Besides, she's always been giving you a hard time. Yesterday, I deliberately pushed her down not only because I didn't want to complete the ceremony with her, but also to vent some of your anger. It turns out they had been secretly carrying on all along. It turns out all his deep affection was nothing but a carefully calculated performance. Even those gentle words he used to comfort her were all just to keep her, this pawn, in place. Pushing her off the high platform wasn't an accident. It was to vent his anger for the one he truly loved. Over 5 years of companionship, from understanding to love, how could all those tender, intimate moments have been fake? That rainy night, when the car lost control and plunged into the river, he smashed the window, desperately lifting her out of the water, nearly drowning himself in the process. At the dinner table, he stayed by her side, shielding her from every strong drink. It turns out deep affection can truly be faked. Tears silently slid from the corners of her tightly shut eyes. Xia bit her lip hard, not letting a single sound escape. Her heart ached so much she could barely breathe. But she knew that shedding tears for someone who didn't love her was the cheapest thing in the world. From this moment on, no one will ever protect her again. She must become her own armor. After the couple left, Xia, enduring the excruciating pain, did not confront Lu Yangju. Instead, she went straight back to the Xia family home, bearing the tearing pain in her ankle. She knelt upright before her parents, her voice eerily calm. "Dad, Mom, I know everything about Lu Yangju and Qingyu." The couple's expressions changed instantly. Mrs. Xia's gaze was sharp as a knife. "What do you intend to do? Go complain to your Uncle Lu and ruin this marriage?" She knew very well that what the Lu family valued was never the Xia family, but Xia Zhiyue's exceptional business talent. Xia Zhiyue's lips curved into a faint, bitter smile. Don't worry, I won't. Out of gratitude for over 20 years of upbringing, I'll step aside for them. I came back today to ask for your permission to leave the Xia family. Leave, Mr. Xia sounded as if he had heard the most absurd joke, his expression darkening. You stole over 20 years of my daughter's life, and now you think you can just walk away. Did the Xia family raise you for nothing all these years? Xia Zhiyue fell silent. Indeed, she owed the Xia family a shackle she could never break free from. Then, father, how would you like me to repay you? The young master of the Fu family in Beicheng, who has an intellectual disability, still hasn't found a wife. You marry him, and in exchange, the Xia family will secure cooperation with the Fu family. All that you owe us will be written off. It felt as if a heavy hammer had struck her heart, shattering it completely, but soon, Xia Zhiyue smiled. She bent down and solemnly kowtowed once. All right, I'll marry him. A fool is always better than a lover who schemes against you. As long as she could completely leave this unbearable past behind, she was willing to endure this small grievance. To be safe, continue playing the role of Yanzhou's girlfriend. Once Qingyu successfully marries into the family, you can leave. Xia Zhiyue nodded. Then turned and left, returning to the nanny's room where she now lived. A pungent smell of smoke hit her face. Pushing the door open, she saw Xia Qingyu leisurely tossing stacks of photos into a brazier. They were her family portraits, graduation photos, and cards filled with blessings from friends, all the precious memories of her past life. Xia Qingyu tilted her head, smiling with an innocent yet malicious expression. The person in these photos should have been me. You stole my life, so I'll burn your past. Fair enough. Right, give them back to me. Xia Zhiyue lunged forward as if driven mad. Xia Qingyu, however, shoved all the photos into the fire in one go. Then her body tilted and she fell beside the brazier, screaming sharply, "Ah, it hurts. Help!" A tremendous force struck from behind, sending Xia Zhiyue stumbling to the ground. It was Lu Yangju. Without even glancing at Xia Zhiyue on the ground, he immediately helped Xia Qingyu up, anxiously checking. "Are you burned?" Xia Qingyu tearfully complained. "Sister insisted on burning our parents' photos. I tried to stop her, and she pushed me." Xia Zhiyue got up from the ground, looking coldly at the perfect couple before her. "Lu Yangju, don't forget. I am your fiancé." Lu Yangju's expression was as cold as a stranger's. "Zhiyue, I have always stood by reason, not by kinship. I'll take Qingyu home first. You should reflect on yourself." He shielded Xia Qingyu as they left, not even sparing her a glance. Xia Zhiyue closed the door, cleaning up the mess and the memories that had turned to ashes all by herself. Her heart, too, died along with them. She went out to take out the trash, and a maid hurried over carrying a basin of red-hot charcoal. Crashing straight into her, Xia Zhiyue couldn't dodge in time, and the entire basin of charcoal was dumped all over her. The searing pain instantly spread throughout her body. Enduring the agony, she called for an ambulance, only to be told that the Xia family's private doctor was already on the way. But she waited until dark, and not a single person showed up. The excruciating pain nearly made her faint, so she could only hastily tend to her wounds herself. In a half-awake, half-asleep state, she overheard a conversation outside the window. It was Lu Yangju's voice. "How is she?" The servant replied respectfully. "Don't worry, young Master Lu. The charcoal fire was poured on her legs, so she won't die, but she's in excruciating pain." "Good. She almost caused Qingyu to get scalded, so it's good for her to suffer through the night and learn her lesson. However, she has a weak constitution, so call a doctor to check on her later. Remember to remind the doctor that she's allergic to penicillin. Don't use the wrong medication." Xia Zhiyue felt as if she had fallen into an icy cellar, her blood seeming to freeze instantly. The man who had sworn to protect her for a lifetime, for the sake of another woman, had personally pushed her off the high platform and now had ordered someone to inflict such cruelty upon her. "Lu Yangju, I will endure until the Xia family is repaid, but that doesn't mean I forgive. The day I am no longer Xia Zhiyue, we will settle this slowly." In the afternoon, Xia Zhiyue, whose injuries had slightly eased, was in the courtyard making phone calls to handle work matters. Before long, Xia Qingyu walked over, leading her tall and fierce Tibetan mastiff. Xia Zhiyue had always been afraid of dogs and instinctively stepped back. Xia Qingyu, however, pressed forward step by step, holding up a spray bottle with a bright smile. Sister, I heard you got burned. I specially brought you a miracle cure. With that, she abruptly pressed the nozzle, spraying Xia Zhiyue's injured leg repeatedly. Ah! The intense stinging pain made Xia Zhiyue cry out in agony. She snatched the bottle and threw it into the water. Only when she crouched down did she realize it wasn't medicine at all, it was chilly water. Xia Qingyu, you've gone too far. Her furious shout provoked the snow mastiff, which let out a threatening growl from its throat. Terrified, Xia Zhiyue turned and ran. Just as she was about to pull open a door, Xia Qingyu suddenly released the dog's leash. At that critical moment, Xia Zhiyue's black cat, Tang Tang, which she had raised since childhood, darted out like lightning to shield its owner, only to be viciously kicked away by Xia Qingyu. Fortunately, Xia Zhiyue had chilly water on her, so the snow mastiff bit her once and then let go in disgust. What happened? Lu Yangju hurried over. Xia Qingyu immediately put on a tearful tone. Sister's cat suddenly pounced and scratched me. The snow mastiff was just trying to protect me. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have come to deliver medicine to sister out of kindness. Watching Lu Yangju protect Xia Qingyu in his arms with a heart full of pain, Xia Zhiyue knew any defense would be futile. She picked up the injured Tang Tang and silently returned to her room. After comforting Tang Tang, she went to the hospital alone to get the rabies vaccine. When she returned, she happened to see the whole family enjoying a barbecue in the yard. Full of joy and harmony, Lu Yangju was diligently pouring wine for Xia's father. And the seat beside him had already been taken by Xia Qingyu. Even Xia Qingyu's aggressive snow mastiff was being specially served roasted meat by a servant. Xia Zhiyue smiled self-deprecatingly, realizing that in the Xia family now, she truly wasn't even as valued as a dog. Dragging her exhausted body back to her room, she discovered the cat cage was empty. She had clearly locked it securely before leaving. Panicked, she grabbed a maid and asked. The maid avoided her gaze and pointed toward the yard. Mr. Lu said, your cat offended the second young lady, so it was to be fed to the snow mastiff. With a loud crash, Xia Zhiyue felt the world spinning. She stumbled towards the courtyard, but it was already too late. The Tibetan mastiff was chewing on something bloody and mangled in its mouth. It was Tian Tian. Ah! Xia Zhiyue lunged forward frantically, trying to snatch back her last bit of warmth from the dog's mouth. Lu Yangju held her tightly from behind. Zhiyue, have you lost your mind? Are you willing to risk your life for a cat? At most, I'll just buy you another one. Xia Zhiyue's eyes were bloodshot, her voice trembling uncontrollably. Lu Yangju, what right do you have to kill it? You knew exactly what it meant to me. He forcibly dragged her back to the room, his tone tinged with impatience. I just wanted to make it up to Qingyu a little more for you. Your stomach isn't good, don't let anger ruin your health. Xia Zhiyue stared at him coldly, then suddenly lowered her head and bit down hard on his wrist, pouring out all her hatred and pain. Lu Yenzhou's face turned pale with pain, but he stubbornly refused to move. The successive blows left Xia Zhiyue completely bedridden. Lu Yangju stayed at the Xia family home for 2 days, feigning his usual affection, but Xia Zhiyue knew all too well that once his father left, he would not hesitate to discard her like a pawn. With only 4 days left until the wedding, the bridal shop called to ask her to come for a fitting. Since she wasn't the bride anyway, Xia Zhiyue intended to go through the motions, but Xia Qingyu, standing beside her, eagerly linked arms with her and said, Sister, how can you be so casual about something as important as choosing a wedding dress? Let me go with you, I can pick out a bridesmaid dress while we're at it. Before Xia Zhiyue could refuse, Mrs. Xia spoke coldly. Zhiyue, the Xia family has raised you all these years. Can't you make your sister happy before you leave? Xia Zhiyue's heart turned completely cold. Fine. She would swallow all the knives they handed her, and from then on, they would be even. In the bridal shop, Xia Zhiyue avoided the intimate Lu Yangju and Xia Qingyu, browsing alone. Sister, come quickly. I found one that's perfect for you. Xia Qingyu pulled her to a corner and handed her a plain white dress. Xia Zhiyue didn't think much of it and changed into the dress before walking out. To her surprise, the shop assistant turned pale, her voice trembling. Miss Xia, why did you put this on? This was custom-made by a client for a ghost marriage. It's meant for the deceased. Xia Zhiyue felt as if struck by lightning, her entire body turning cold. She was about to take it off. But Xia Qingyu stopped her, holding up her phone. Don't rush, sister, you really look beautiful in this. Let me take a photo. At most, we can compensate the client with a new one. Lu Yangju, standing nearby, also frowned, his tone carrying a hint of reproach. Xiyue, Qingyu is rarely in such high spirits. Can't you let her finish taking the photo before taking it off? Xia Xiyue looked at him in disbelief. Lu Yangju, didn't you hear? This is for the dead. Are you all just waiting for me to die? Lu Yangju was stung by the despair in her eyes, and his heart tightened as he let go of her hand. Xia Qingyu, meanwhile, began to cry pitifully. It's all my fault, I don't understand anything. I shouldn't have come. Lu Yangju immediately turned to comfort her. Xia Xiyue changed back into her own clothes and said coldly to him, the wedding dress is chosen, I'm leaving first. As soon as she turned around, she heard Xia Qingyu's scream from the fitting room. Xia Qingyu stumbled out, one hand clutching her buttocks, blood seeping through her fingers. In her other hand, she was gripping a syringe needle. Brother Yangju, how could there be a needle in the sofa? It hurts so much. Lu Yenzhou's face suddenly changed, and he grabbed Xia Xiyue's wrist, roaring, trying to run after harming someone. Tell me, why did you hide a needle to hurt Qingyu? Xia Xiyue, how can your heart be so vicious? Without asking for an explanation, he had already convicted her. Xia Xiyue looked up wearily. Where's the evidence? The store manager, afraid of being held responsible, immediately chimed in. This VIP fitting room was specially prepared for you, and no one else has come in at all. You used it without any issues, so how could your sister get pricked as soon as she went in? Then she must have staged it herself. Xia Xiyue sneered. Sister, how could you wrong me like this? Xia Qingyu cried. Didn't you use this kind of needle before when deworming the cat? Since you won't admit it, we'll have to search you. The needle cap must still be on you. The crowd of onlookers grew larger and larger. For the sake of the Lu family's reputation, Lu Yangju had no choice but to investigate publicly. He suddenly grabbed Xia Xiyue from behind and coldly ordered the shop assistant, search her, you can't touch me. Xia Xiyue struggled in panic. Several shop assistants roughly pounced on her, tearing her clothes off in public until she was left in only her underwear. Found it, the store manager triumphantly announced, holding up a blue needle cap high in the air. A wave of immense humiliation engulfed Xia Xiyue as she continued to protest in vain. It wasn't me, you're framing me. Slap. A resounding slap landed hard across her face. The one who struck her was Lu Yangju. Lu Yenzhou's gaze was like two poisoned daggers, fixed firmly on Xia Xiyue. His words dripping with undisguised disgust. Xia Xiyue, you make me sick to my core. Wearing the title of my fiancé, you've completely humiliated me. Xia Xiyue's face instantly drained of color, turning as pale as paper. Though she was caught in the midst of this farce, her back remained straight and unyielding. She simply stared back at Lu Yangju in silence, and after a long moment, a smile that looked more painful than tears tugged at the corner of her mouth. Is that so? Since you've already ruined the engagement banquet with your own hands, perhaps we should just call off the wedding. Her words were like a needle, piercing Lu Yenzhou's inflated ego with precision. He fell silent instantly, his eyes flickering with uncertainty. He not only had to hide it from the elders at home, but he also couldn't understand how such a resolute statement could come from the woman who loved him as if her life depended on it. Wasn't she looking forward to marrying him every single day? A belated sense of shame washed over him. Lu Yangju took off his suit jacket and somewhat stiffly draped it over her slender shoulders. Just as he was about to say something to ease the tension, a scream erupted from the crowd. Look! Second Miss Xia has fainted. Lu Yenzhou's heart tightened sharply, as if gripped by an invisible hand. Without a second thought, he turned and pushed through the crowd, scooping up Xia Qingyu, who had collapsed on the ground, and rushed out without looking back. Xia Xiyue bit down hard on her lower lip, the taste of iron spreading in her mouth, keeping her tears from falling. She bent down and, under countless complex gazes, picked up the shattered pieces of her dignity and clothing one by one, putting them back on. The surrounding whispers buzzed like flies. Oh my God, she's so pitiful. Her fiancé publicly humiliated her and then ran off with her sister. Look. There's blood at the corner of her mouth. Pitiful, she's just an imposter. Xia Qingyu is the real heiress of the Xia family. What is she? She's been occupying the nest for over a decade, and she even resorted to underhanded tricks to harm others. I really don't understand how the Lu family could have taken a liking to her. Exactly, her sister just accidentally took the wrong wedding dress, and she hid needles in it as revenge. A woman with such a malicious heart deserves this. Xia turned a deaf ear to these voices. She indifferently scanned the room, wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth with her fingertip, and walked out of the bridal shop that had brought her endless humiliation without a trace of emotion on her face. Back at the Xia group, the CEO's office was quiet and still. Xia sat at her desk, focused on handling documents as if the earlier turmoil had never happened. Assistant Ming Qiu hurried in on her high heels, handing over a file. Her voice brimming with barely contained excitement. Miss Xia, your vision is absolutely brilliant. The overseas line we've been following has indeed uncovered a massive deal. She changed the subject, her brows furrowing with worry again. But the other party thinks our Xia family's experience is still too limited. And they're hesitating about signing the contract. We have to come up with a plan. If we can secure this deal, it'll be enough to keep us busy for years. Xia nodded, her tone calm yet carrying an undeniable resolve. Don't worry, I'm determined to land this deal. Because this is my only chance to buy my freedom, she silently told herself. The next day, as soon as Xia stepped through the company's entrance, Lu Yenzhou's call came through. Xia, Grandma said she wants to give you the family heirloom bracelet today. She's planning to hold a private ceremony for us at the old house. You need to come over right away. Xia didn't even think before refusing. I can't get away today. There's a very important meeting at the company. Please let Grandma know. Before she could finish, the voice on the other end of the phone unexpectedly switched to her father's stern tone. Leave the company matters to your subordinates. Come to the Lu family's house immediately. Your Uncle Lu is rarely free today. Don't keep all the elders waiting for you alone. Her father emphasized the words Uncle Lu heavily, as if to remind her. Xia, if you want to repay the debt of gratitude for the Xia family's upbringing, then play this role to the very end. She took a deep breath and drove to the Lu family's old mansion. As soon as the car came to a stop, Lu Yangju opened the door for her. Naturally taking her hand as if apologizing in a gentle tone. Don't be angry with me anymore. Last time was my fault, I was too impulsive. Xia felt a wave of nausea churning in her stomach, and it took all her strength to restrain herself from shaking him off on the spot. In the traditionally decorated Chinese-style living room, the ceremony was already prepared. The Lu family matriarch sat in the main seat, with Mr. Lu and Xia's parents standing on either side. Unexpectedly, Xia Qingyu was also there. Like a wronged young wife, she stood in the farthest corner, her eyes fixed resentfully on the brocade box on the tea table. Is that Xia? Grandma Lu looked up, her gaze gentle as she turned in her direction. Only then did Xia notice that the elderly lady was wearing a pair of medical goggles over her eyes. Lu Yangju whispered in her ear, Grandma just had eye surgery, her vision is blurry now, and she can only make out vague figures. Xia politely responded to the elderly lady's greetings before being led upstairs with Lu Yangju to change into the special red gloves for the engagement ceremony. Sister, at the corner of the stairs, Xia Qingyu called out to her softly and faintly. Her eyes were red, and her voice sounded light and gentle. Last time, it was my fault for embarrassing you in front of so many people. Today is your special day, sister. I heard that Grandma Lu's pair of bracelets were once worn by an ancient empress. You're truly blessed, sister, it's so enviable. Xia had no patience for this White Lotus act and went straight upstairs. As soon as she entered the room, the door was shut. Lu Yangju suddenly exerted force, grabbing Xia's wrist with one hand while the other hand swiftly pulled out a sharp pair of scissors from his pocket. Before Xia could even ask what he intended to do, she saw him raise the scissors and slash them viciously across her arm. A surge of warm liquid spurted out instantly, and an excruciating pain, like an electric shock, swept through every part of Xia's body. The pain made her teeth chatter uncontrollably as she stared in disbelief at the man she had once loved so deeply. A flicker of reluctance crossed Lu Yenzhou's face, but his movements remained resolute. Xia, just bear with it for a moment. Qingyu really likes this pair of bracelets. And if I give them to her after you've worn them, I'm afraid she'll feel uncomfortable. Anyway, Grandma can't see clearly. Only by making you bleed can I have a reason to speak to my dad and let Qingyu take your place to complete this ritual. Xia Zhiyue felt the world spinning around her. It was Xia Qingyu again. Just because Xia Qingyu liked it, for the sake of a pair of bracelets, he could actually use scissors to cut open her flesh. Her heart felt as if it had been torn open. The scene of him pushing her off the stage at the engagement party overlapping with this moment, in an instant, she understood the bracelet was nothing but an excuse. Xia Qingyu was the one he truly intended to marry, so all the glory and ceremony of this marriage had to be enjoyed by Xia Qingyu alone. He had called her here not for any family heirloom. She was merely a prop to appease the Lu family elders, one that could be sacrificed at any time. Outside the door, Mr. Lu's impatient voice rang out. "What's taking so long in there? Why is it taking this long?" Lu Yangju immediately raised his voice and replied, "Dad, Zhiyue accidentally cut her arm and it's bleeding. Since Grandma can't see anyway, why not let Qingyu take her place to avoid any bad luck, Mr. Lu merely furrowed his brows, his tone devoid of any concern for the younger generation. "What bad luck? The family heirloom has seen blood, it's inauspicious. Let Qingyu go instead." With that, father and son headed downstairs one after the other. From start to finish, no one asked Xia Zhiyue a single question about whether she was in pain. A burning pain spread through her arm, and Xia Zhiyue's vision gradually blurred, yet her heart had never been clearer. She finally understood that the rumors about how much the Lu family valued her were nothing more than a businessman's expertise in maximizing profits. When they needed her, she was a cherished treasure. When they didn't, she was trash to be discarded at will. Alone, she clumsily bandaged her bleeding wound. Downstairs, the faint sound of Grandma Lu's kind blessings and the hearty laughter of the Xia family's parents could be heard. The entire building was immersed in joy. They were the real family, and she, Xia Zhiyue, was a complete outsider. But she couldn't understand what did all those warm memories from the first half of her life even mean. When she fell as a child, their nervous and concerned eyes. Every birthday party they meticulously prepared for her, every anniversary surprise Lu Yangju arranged for her, those mountains of gifts, and those genuine, warm hugs. Could it be that just because of the phrase no blood relation, or a single, calculated scheme, all those past moments could be completely negated and vanish into thin air? In the following days, Xia Zhiyue did not return to the Xia family. She poured all her energy into that overseas order. Because her father had promised her that as long as she secured this deal, it would be considered as repaying the Xia family for their years of raising her. By then, she would no longer be forced to marry the foolish young master of the Fu family, and she could reclaim her freedom. That day, Xia Zhiyue had just finished a meeting and was rushing to complete a proposal in her office when the door suddenly swung open. Lu Yangju walked in, his tone deliberately tinged with concern. "Zhiyue, the wedding is the day after tomorrow. Why are you still working so hard?" Xia Zhiyue didn't even look up, her voice as cold as ice. "What else should I do? Should I go shopping and date you and Xia Qingyu instead?" Lu Yangju was left speechless, feeling an inexplicable sense of panic. Just as he was about to explain, Xia Qingyu, who had followed him in, spoke first. "Sis, you've got it all wrong." Xia Qingyu blinked innocently. "Brother Yangju just saw that I was bored staying home alone, so he kindly offered to take me out for a walk. A young lady who spends her days either on yachts or diving, would she really get depressed from having nothing to do?" Xia Zhiyue couldn't be bothered to expose her lie, nor did she want to waste her breath on such unimportant people. She gave Mingqiu a look, and Mingqiu immediately understood. "Sorry, Director Xia is currently working. If you two have nothing important, please leave for now." Xia Qingyu not only didn't leave but instead took a termination letter from her bag and directly shoved it into Mingqiu's hands. Then, with a smug smile directed at Xia Zhiyue, she said, "But now it's all good. Dad asked me to come to the company to learn from my sister. Starting today, I'm your new assistant, sis." Xia Zhiyue's expression instantly darkened. She spoke up to defend Mingqiu. But under the combined pressure of Lu Yangju and Xia Qingyu, and to avoid putting her in a difficult position, Mingqiu ultimately chose to leave on her own. Fortunately, that overseas order had reached its most critical final stage. That night, Xia Zhiyue called Mingqiu. "After I sign the contract tomorrow, I'll also leave the Xia Corporation. Then we can find a new place and work together again." "What new place? Where are you going?" Outside the company stairwell, Lu Yenzhou's voice suddenly rang out, carrying a hint of urgency. Xia Zhiyue couldn't be bothered to engage with him, merely retorting casually, "It's so late, shouldn't you be with your precious Xia Qingyu? What are you doing here?" Lu Yenzhou's heart was filled with conflict. He was both afraid that Xia Zhiyue would learn the truth and acutely aware that the person he was ultimately going to marry was Xia Qingyu. She would find out sooner or later. Then, let's keep it hidden for one more day. That's what he thought. When it could no longer be concealed, he would find a way to properly make it up to her. "I saw you working overtime alone at the company and was worried, so I came to check on you. I also brought your favorite wine." The continuous days of running around, coupled with the departure of her capable assistant, had left Xia Zhiyue physically and mentally exhausted, and she truly wanted a drink. She didn't refuse and followed Lu Yangju to the company's rooftop terrace. However, when they saw the 2 wine glasses already set out on the terrace, both of them were stunned. On the glasses were engraved the last characters of their respective names. Those were custom-made during the peak of their romance, imitating a scene from a romantic movie. On the day they received the glasses, they had even shared a ceremonial drink here. The sweetness of the past now seemed utterly ironic. Xia Zhiyue, expressionless, picked up her wine glass and downed it in one gulp. The next second, however, she abruptly spat out all the wine in her mouth. An overwhelmingly sweet taste stung her throat. It was the sweet wine Xia Qingyu loved most. As for her, due to her pharyngitis, she only ever drank sugar-free dry red wine. Lu Yangju immediately realized what had happened and hurriedly explained, "I'm sorry, Zhiyue, I grabbed the wrong one. I'll go get you another right away." It's not a mistake. After being with Xia Qingyu for so long, he had long forgotten all about her preferences. But it doesn't matter anymore. Gazing at the city's myriad lights outside the window, Xia Zhiyue felt the last trace of desolation in her heart fade away, replaced by an infinite longing for freedom. Waking up the next day, Xia Zhiyue felt as if her head was splitting with pain, struggling to pull open the office blinds. The glaring midday sunlight instantly made it impossible for her to keep her eyes open. Noon already, how could that be? The contract was scheduled to be signed this morning. A strong sense of foreboding surged in her heart. Without a second thought, Xia Zhiyue quickly tied it up and rushed straight to the conference room. At the entrance of the conference room, she saw the scene she least wanted to witness. Mr. Mark, the person in charge of the overseas order, was smiling broadly as he shook hands and bid farewell to Xia Qingyu, who was holding the contract she had worked tirelessly on for countless days and nights. Xia Zhiyue felt as if all the blood in her body was rushing backward. This was a project she and Ming Qiu had painstakingly negotiated, step by step, after countless sleepless nights. How could the person signing the final agreement be Xia Qingyu? She rushed forward quickly, wanting to demand an explanation. "Mr. Mark," before she could finish speaking. A pair of large hands clamped tightly over her mouth from behind, roughly dragging her back into the corner. It was Lu Yangju. "Zhiyue, stop making a scene." He held her tightly with his arms, not allowing her to move an inch. "Only by signing this contract can Qingyu prove her abilities to everyone, and then everyone will like her more. As her sister, shouldn't you be helping her?" Xia Zhiyue stared at him in shock. That overly sweet wine from last night, the sudden drowsiness. Everything now made sense. The fire in her eyes suddenly extinguished, replaced by endless sorrow. Tears uncontrollably streamed down, scalding as they fell on Lu Yenzhou's arm. Lu Yangju released her as if electrocuted. "Zhiyue, don't cry." Xia Zhiyue's lips were bruised from his hand, oozing blood, yet she smiled. "So, last night, when you hypocritically said you were worried about me and came to drink with me, it was just to drug the wine so that Xia Qingyu could steal the fruits of my labor." "Lu Yangju, is your heart made of iron? What do you mean by steal? She is your sister, Zhiyue. How can you say such harsh things?" Lu Yangju frowned, retorting righteously. "Do you know that Qingyu was so nervous about today's signing that she couldn't sleep all night? And you just drank some wine with sleeping pills. Slept comfortably. What more do you want? What more do I want?" Xia Zhiyue's voice trembled. "Do you know, this contract was my last chance to leave the Xia family." Lu Yangju was stunned. What last chance?" Xia Zhiyue, tears streaming down her face, smiled bitterly. "It's nothing. It has nothing to do with you anymore." When Xia Zhiyue returned to the Xia family home, the entire family was holding a celebration banquet for Xia Qingyu, with Lu Yangju also present, all enjoying themselves in harmony. She walked straight to the dining table, looked at her father, and asked word by word, "Dad, you should know very well that this order was actually negotiated by me. So, as we agreed before, the matter with the Fu family, enough." Father Xia sharply cut her off. "Is this how an older sister should behave? Your younger sister has achieved something for the first time, and instead of congratulating her, you come back to steal the credit. Did our Xia family raise an ungrateful wretch?" Xia Qingyu immediately pouted, her eyes reddening with grievance. "It's all my fault. If sister doesn't like me joining the company, I promise I'll never go again." "No need." Xia Zhiyue's voice was as cold as ice, yet terrifyingly calm. "The one who should leave is me." With that, she turned and walked away, her back resolute and lonely. Lu Yangju stared blankly at her retreating figure, an inexplicable sense of irritation rising in his heart. In the evening, Xia Zhiyue was in her room packing her belongings. After tidying up, she realized that in this home where she had lived for over 20 years, there was not a single thing worth her nostalgia or worth taking with her. She simply packed all her belongings into boxes, ready to return everything to the Xia family. "Miss." A servant knocked and entered, a hint of unease in her voice. "The master has asked you to come to the living room." As soon as Xia Zhiyue stepped into the living room, she was met with a powerful slap from Mrs. Xia. Before she could even react, Father Xia followed up with a kick that sent her sprawling to the ground, his expression twisted with rage. "Out of jealousy that Qingyu secured the order, you actually dared to secretly delete the study materials she worked so hard to download." Xia Zhiyue lay sprawled on the cold floor, letting out a bitter, despairing laugh. "I never touched her computer. If you don't believe me, go check the surveillance footage. Besides, if it's just downloaded materials, can't she just download them again? How dare you argue after doing something so wrong? Someone, slap her 100 times." The servant immediately stepped forward, and cold, wind-whipped slaps began to rain down on her face, one after another, each one landing with brutal force. Slap. The first strike, a searing pain. Slap, slap, slap. The crisp sound of slaps echoed through the empty living room. Xia Zhiyue's heart felt as if it were being sliced back and forth by countless blunt knives. Numbed by the pain, she didn't shed another tear. After 100 slaps, her face was swollen high, and the corners of her mouth were covered in blood. "Lock her in the cold storage. No one is to let her out without my orders." Before being dragged away, Mother Xia even personally stripped off the only thick coat she was wearing. In the living room, the expressions on the faces of the Xia family ranged from numbness to smugness. Only Lu Yenzhou's eyes flickered with a faint trace of pity. But in the end, he did nothing. He thought, tomorrow is the wedding day, it might be good for Xia Zhiyue to learn a lesson, so she wouldn't come and cause trouble. Once everything is settled, he would make it up to her properly. The next day, the Xia family decorated the house with lanterns and streamers, and a long red carpet was laid out at the entrance. Xia Qingyu, wearing a pure white wedding dress with a face full of happy smiles, got into the luxurious wedding car sent by the Lu family. Just as the Lu family's motorcade drove away from the villa area, several black cars quietly pulled in. A few men in black suits barged straight into the Xia residence. Heading purposefully toward the cold storage, they rescued Xia Zhiyue, who was half frozen and barely clinging to life. One of them coldly said to Mr. and Mrs. Xia, "Mr. Fu asked us to relay this message, since she has already been sold to us. From now on, anything concerning her has nothing to do with the Xia family." With that, they took Xia Zhiyue and disappeared into the morning light. Meanwhile, at the Lu family's wedding banquet venue, the guests had long been privately informed that today's bride was not Xia Zhiyue, but Xia Qingyu, the long-lost true heiress of the Xia family. Amidst the flowers and applause, Lu Yangju stood in the backstage area. Dressed in his finest attire, yet an inexplicable sense of unease washed over him in waves. He thought it was just pre-wedding nerves, but when he saw Xia Qingyu in her beautiful wedding dress, that feeling of restlessness only grew stronger. It wasn't until Xia's father and mother, who had arrived late, appeared before him that he finally found the source of his agitation. He immediately stepped forward and pressed them. "Dad, Mom, where is Zhiyue? She was locked in the cold storage last night. Did you rescue her?" Xia's father and mother hadn't expected him to bring up Xia Zhiyue at this critical moment. Both were taken aback, then lied in unison, she's out, don't worry, she's safe and sound at home." Lu Yangju wanted to ask more, but suddenly a familiar yet icy female voice came from behind. Ha, at home, didn't you already sell her off to the Fu family's fool as a daughter-in-law? Lu Yangju turned around abruptly. He saw Xiaoshan's former assistant, Ming Qiu. She was walking toward him step by step, her eyes bloodshot. You, what did you say? Can't you understand human language? Ming Qiu's voice was laced with suppressed anger and disdain. I said, Xia has been sold off by your Xia family, sold to a fool, Lu Yangju. Are you satisfied now? These words struck Lu Yangju like a thunderbolt, exploding over his head. He staggered, nearly losing his balance. Then turned and sharply questioned Xiaoju's parents. Is what she said true? Did you really sell Xia to a fool? Xiaoju's parents were so frightened by his intense reaction that they stumbled backward, momentarily speechless. Seeing this, Xia Qingyu, who was standing nearby, immediately stepped forward. She gently took Lu Yangju's arm and said softly, Yangju, don't believe her. She's my sister's person. My sister must be unwilling to accept this and sent her here to deliberately ruin our wedding. Xia's mother also came to her senses and quickly chimed in. Yes, Yangju, Xia is, after all, the daughter we've raised for so many years. No matter how angry we are, we would never harm her. The wedding is about to begin. You two should hurry up and get on stage. Ming Qiu sneered, her eyes filled with mockery. That's right, I was promoted by Sister Xia. So of course I'm on her side, but what about you? One of you is the parent she has loved for over 20 years, and the other is the fiancé she hoped to grow old with. What have you done for her? Just because she values you more than her own life, does that give you the right to trample on her sincerity so recklessly? At this point, Ming Qiu found it laughable. She had thought these people still had at least a shred of conscience. But now it seemed she had been too naive. With such family and lover, perhaps it's a relief for Xia not to return. At this thought, she said no more and resolutely turned to leave. Seeing Lu Yangju still staring blankly at the door, Xia Qingyu pretended to feel dizzy and leaned weakly into his arms. Yangju, you care so much about my sister. Do you regret marrying me? Before she finished speaking, tears began to fall like broken strings. Lu Yangju's thoughts were pulled back. And he kissed Xia Qingyu's forehead with affection. Silly, how could I ever regret it? Hurry up and go on stage. Don't keep everyone waiting. Nevertheless, before stepping onto the ceremonial platform, he quietly instructed his assistant to immediately go to the Xia family to investigate the true situation regarding Xia. The melodious symphony began to play as Lu Yangju held Xia Qingyu's hand, walking slowly toward the altar amidst the cheers of the crowd. Just as all the ceremonies concluded and Lu Yangju lowered his head, preparing to place the ring on Xia Qingyu's finger, the assistant who had gone to gather information suddenly rushed back and whispered in his ear, Young master, something terrible has happened. The servants at the Xia family say that Miss Xia fell unconscious last night, and early this morning, she was forcibly taken away by a group of mysterious people. What did you say? The ring in Lu Yangju's hand clattered to the floor. He didn't even bother to pick it up. Ignoring the astonished gazes of all the guests, he roughly pushed Xia Qingyu aside and shouted at her, Where is Xia? Where is Xia? What have you done to her? The hall erupted into an uproar. Yangju, my sister really is fine. Xia Qingyu forced down the hatred and panic in her heart, speaking softly to persuade him. Don't worry about her anymore, let's finish the wedding first. Okay. But Lu Yangju couldn't hear a single word at that moment. Remembering Ming Qiu's words, he suddenly leaped off the stage and, without looking back, sprinted toward the door. If Xia really had an accident, if she was really sold to a fool, countless terrifying thoughts flashed through Lu Yangju's mind, and panic surged over him like a tide. He felt as if an extremely important part of his life was being forcibly torn away. He trusted no one. He had to see Xia with his own eyes and personally confirm whether she was safe. While driving to the Xia family's home, Lu Yangju unexpectedly spotted Ming Qiu on the way. He immediately got out of the car and stopped her, his voice urgent. You must know where Xia is, right? Take me to her now. I have to see her right away. Ming Qiu looked at him coldly, as if watching a joke. Young Master Lu, first you change brides. Then you run away from the wedding on the spot. You really are a man of passion. How can you have the nerve to face Sister Xia when you're so fickle? I need to explain things to her clearly. Lu Yenzhou's words trailed off halfway, suddenly stuck. He realized he didn't even know what to say to her, explain why he abandoned her and chose Xia Qingyu. Please, just tell me where she is. I'm just worried she might be in danger. Ming Qiu shook her head. I came to you because I couldn't find her myself. All I know is that the Xia family is forcing her into an arranged marriage with the Fu family from Beicheng. The people who took her away this morning were probably sent by the Fu family. The Fu family from Beicheng, the one with only a foolish son. Lu Yangju couldn't understand it. How could Xia Zhiyue, someone so proud and strong-willed, agree to such an absurd arrangement? Could it really be that she doesn't love him anymore? Lu Yangju, Ming Qiu looked at him, speaking word by word. Do you know that Sister Zhiyue originally planned to use that overseas order to repay the so-called upbringing debt to the Xia family? It was you personally helped Xia Qingyu snatch away her last chance. It was you who pushed her to the brink, forcing her to marry a fool. So that's how it was. Lu Yangju felt as if struck by lightning, his entire body frozen in place. So all her hard work was to leave the Xia family, to gain her freedom, and he had personally pushed her into an abyss of despair. No way. Xia Zhiyue absolutely cannot marry a fool. Lu Yangju quickly started the car. He was going to Beicheng to snatch her back from the Fu family. Just as the car entered the main road, it was aggressively blocked by a black Maybach. Father Lu got out of the car, his eyes dark and fixed on him. Dad, weren't you abroad? If I didn't come back, the Lu family's reputation would have been completely ruined by you. You good for nothing. Father Lu's tone was firm. Since you've already switched people, just go back and finish the wedding properly. But what about Zhiyue? Dad, she can't marry a fool. Seeing his son still stubbornly clinging to his delusions, Mr. Lu softened his tone. What's the rush? I've already spoken with the Fu family, and Zhiyue will be back soon. Your task now is to return immediately and marry Qingyu. Lu Yangju was ultimately escorted back to the wedding venue by the bodyguards. With Mr. Lu's assurance and Xia Qingyu's gentle persuasion, this farcical wedding was finally completed, albeit reluctantly. However, from afternoon until late into the night, Lu Yangju waited in vain. Still receiving no news of Xia Zhiyue, he dialed Xia Zhiyue's phone over and over again, but all he ever heard from the receiver was the cold, automated message, "The number you have dialed is powered off." He remembered that Xia Zhiyue never turned off her phone. Once, when they were traveling, she had switched it off during a nap to avoid being disturbed, only for him to get into a car accident. When she woke up and saw over a dozen missed calls, she was terrified out of her wits. When she finally found him, she held him tightly and cried uncontrollably, swearing that she would never turn off her phone again, so he could always reach her. But now, she had simply vanished. How on earth are you investigating this? If you can't find her soon, you're all fired. Lu Yangju roared at his subordinates, his panic growing with each passing day. Xia Qingyu, standing nearby, had a face as dark as if it could drip with water. She couldn't understand why Lu Yangju, who had always been obedient to her, had changed so drastically because of Xia Zhiyue's departure. She pushed open the balcony door again and softly persuaded, Yangju. Maybe it's just that sister herself took a fancy to the Fu family's money and doesn't want to come back. You should stop waiting. Don't talk nonsense. Lu Yangju abruptly interrupted her. Zhiyue isn't that kind of person. It was your Xia family who drove her away. She will definitely come back. Xia Qingyu trembled all over from his shout, gritted her teeth, and continued to sow discord. How could she not? Sister told me before that she was only with you because she was after your Lu family's money. Slap. A resounding slap landed fiercely on Xia Qingyu's face. At that moment, Mr. Lu pushed the door open, his face ashen. What's all this noise? Can't you keep it down on such a joyous day? It's inauspicious. He shot a glance at the servant behind him, who then approached Lu Yangju with trembling steps, head bowed, and reported, Young master, we've found Miss Zhiyue. She is indeed at the Fu residence. But she says she is now a member of the Fu family and will never return. Never. Return? She doesn't want him anymore. Lu Yangju felt the world spinning around him, his hands gripping the windowsill tightly to keep from collapsing on the spot. How could she not come back? He hadn't explained himself to her yet, hadn't made it up to her, they hadn't even had a proper farewell. How could she be so heartless, truly abandoning him to go be with a fool? Unable to accept this reality, Lu Yangju pushed open the door and rushed out. Lu's father raised his hand and slapped him hard across the face once more. Lu Yangju, have you had enough of this nonsense? If I had known you were so useless, I never should have placed my hopes in you. Starting tomorrow, you are removed from the board of directors. Reflect on your actions. Just a few hours earlier, Xia had arrived in Beicheng aboard the Fu family's private jet. The plane was equipped with a professional medical team, and her injuries had already been properly treated during the journey. By the time she arrived at the Fu family's villa halfway up the mountain, she had regained much of her energy. For the Fu family, she hadn't thought too much about them. After all, no matter how bad it could be, it couldn't be worse than the Xia and Lu families. But when she got out of the car, what she saw was dozens of members of the Fu family standing at the door, greeting her with warm and friendly smiles. Mrs. Fu enthusiastically stepped forward and took her hand. Child, welcome to the Fu family. I am Yunkuan's mother, which means I am your future. Mr. Fu, standing nearby, quickly interrupted her. Oh, the child just arrived. What are you saying? Don't scare her. Xia, your Aunt Fu just likes you too much. Don't mind it. Just treat this place as your own home, settle in first, and as for the matter with Yunkuan, we as parents will never force it. The words absolutely no pressure instantly brought tears to Xiao's eyes. Fu Yunqin's younger sister, Fu Daodao, warmly stepped forward and linked arms with her. Sister Xia, come on, I'll take you to see your room. The Fu family had prepared an independent waterside courtyard for her, elegant and tranquil. Everything in the room was arranged with utmost care. Even the skincare products were her usual brands. Sister Xia, the Lu family from Shanghai has been inquiring about you all day, Fu Daodao asked cautiously. My parents said it all depends on your own wishes. If you want to go back, I'm not going back. Xiao's tone held not a trace of hesitation. She resolutely told Fu Daodao, please tell everyone looking for me that I, Xia, am already a member of the Fu family. I will never go back in this lifetime. Fu Daodao nodded, turned to leave, then came back and gave her a sweet smile. Sister Xia, you don't belong to anyone's family, you are free. Xia finally couldn't hold back, letting her tears fall. But this time, the tears were warm. She felt as if in a dream. In just one day, everything had turned upside down. She had truly left that hell behind and arrived in Beicheng. That legendary Fu Yunkuan, what kind of person would he be? After all, the next day, Xia woke from her sleep, drew back the curtains, and sunlight immediately filled the entire room. This was the sweetest sleep she had had in recent days. Seeing her get up, the maid came in to call her to the front hall for breakfast. Afraid of being late and losing her manners, Xia hurried toward the front hall. Just as she stepped out of the courtyard, a pleasant male voice came from behind her. Are you Xia? Xia turned to look. A handsome man was leaning against the corridor, his eyes gentle and deep, exuding an air of masculinity. Why yes, it's me. Xia didn't know who he was, and in her nervousness, she stumbled over her words. Isn't there only one young master in the Fu family? Fu Daodao is still young and probably doesn't have a boyfriend yet. So who is this person? Unable to contain her curiosity, Xia was about to ask when the man stood beside her and said, let's go, let's have breakfast together. Are you a relative of the Fu family? The man turned his head and smiled faintly. Mom and Dad never told me you were a stutterer. Mom, Dad, Xiao's heart tightened, and she immediately stopped in her tracks. Could it be, I'm Fu Yunkuan, your future husband? Fu Yunkuan took her hand and led her toward the front hall, adding casually, next time, just ask directly. No need to overthink things and tire yourself out. So, you're not a fool at all, Xia realized belatedly, finally understanding the situation. During breakfast, the Fu family explained the reason to Xia. It turned out that Fu Yunkuan had been studying abroad all these years. Now that he had returned to the country, they wanted to find him a girlfriend. After obtaining Fu Yunkuan's approval, they faced another dilemma, fearing that the girls might have impure intentions and were only willing to marry into the Fu family for their wealth. Thus, they deliberately lied, claiming that Fu Yunkuan was a fool. If someone was still willing to marry him under such circumstances, she would undoubtedly be a kind-hearted and genuine girl. Although Xia felt fortunate, she dared not hide the truth and admitted, back then, even though I agreed to the arranged marriage, I still wanted to rely on my own abilities to repay my adoptive parents' kindness. It was only as a last resort that Fu's mother smiled and chimed in, "Silly child, we know all about your situation, it's fine. Since you're here, it's all fate, especially since we deceived you first. The following content is premium content 49%. In the future, you and Yunkuan can develop your relationship freely. If it doesn't work out, I'll take you as my goddaughter. In any case, the Fu family likes you, and this will be your new home." Xia was deeply moved by the Fu family, and her anxious heart finally settled. In the following days, Fu Yunkuan stayed by Xia's side, helping her get familiar with the environment, recuperating her health, and taking care of her with meticulous attention. Every time he reminded her to take her medicine, he would also hand her a piece of candy, and he even bent down to help her tie her shoelaces. Xia felt like a mended doll, slowly piecing herself back together. The only regret was that she still hadn't been able to go out. Xia gazed out the window and casually remarked, "I've heard the sea view in North City is quite beautiful. I've been here for so long, yet I still haven't seen it." Fu Yunkuan looked at her seriously and said, "When you can finish a whole bowl of rice, I'll take you there." So, after dinner the next day, Xia proactively turned her empty bowl upside down and raised an eyebrow at him. Fu Yunkuan was taken aback for a moment, then chuckled softly, "Deal, go change into some riding gear, we're taking a night tour of North City, cycling." Night tour. Xia had never dared to imagine that such romantic and unrestrained words would one day belong to her. With a nervous heart, she stepped onto Fu Yunkuan's motorcycle. Fu Yunkuan steadied the handlebars and, while turning back to check her helmet, softly reminded her, "If you get scared later, just hold on tight to me." Xia didn't respond, just gently grasped his clothes. The car rumbled to life and slowly headed towards the North City coastal highway. The night sea breeze was soft, damp, and salty, gently brushing against Xia's skin and long hair. As she gazed at the scattered lights along the endless coastline, she had never felt so relaxed and carefree. "Do you like me?" The roar of the motorcycle drowned out Fu Yunkuan's low, hoarse tone. But Xia still heard it. She didn't answer. Fu Yunkuan wasn't surprised. Thinking she hadn't heard him over the noise, he smiled to himself and unconsciously pressed down on the accelerator. The next second, Fu Yunkuan suddenly felt Xia's fingers press against his back, and he couldn't help but shiver slightly. Through the thin fabric of his clothes, she traced with her fingertip. Fu Yunkuan felt as if he had been struck by an electric shock, his blood freezing in his veins. Then it began to boil. He turned the steering wheel, driving the car into the bay and parking it beside the beach. The inertia from the car stopping pushed Xia toward him, and Fu Yunkuan immediately turned around, capturing her lips with a kiss. A scorching breath sprayed over her. This was the first time Xia had truly felt warmth since leaving the cold storage. She wrapped her arms around his neck, responding to him with even more fervent lips and tongue. This was also her first deep kiss, and Xia realized belatedly that all the defensive instincts her body had shown before were simply because she hadn't met the right person. Fortunately, she held on and waited. On the other side, when Lu Yangju saw the news that Xia and Fu Yunkuan were about to get married, he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. "What did you say? Is she really going to marry this fool?" Lu Yangju grabbed his assistant by the collar with a grim face. His eyes filled with deep pain and confusion. The assistant was too scared to speak, but he couldn't hide the truth, so he nodded tremblingly. Lu Yangju abruptly shook him off, and the assistant crashed into the coffee table, causing the exquisite crystal ball of the undersea starry sky to fall to the ground, cracking with a menacing fissure. The assistant hurriedly picked it up and carefully placed it back on the table. Lu Yangju picked up the crystal ball and stared at it intently, then let out a scornful laugh. "Ha!" His eyes were bloodshot as he violently hurled the object in his hand toward the floor. With a sharp crack, the crystal ball shattered into pieces, its fragments instantly scattering everywhere. Two small figurines holding hands tumbled out from within. Xia Qingyu, who had been standing nearby, couldn't contain her curiosity. She bent down to pick them up, and upon seeing that the faces of the two figurines were none other than Lu Yangju and Xia, a fierce glint of jealousy flashed in her eyes. Who would have thought that the ornament Lu Yangju had deliberately placed on the coffee table was actually a couple's item belonging to him and Xia? Didn't Lu Yangju not love her? Then why would he still keep their things? It had only been half a month since the wedding, and he was still immersed in the pain of losing Xia every day. With no mood to pay attention to her, she wanted to question why he treated her this way, but she held back. She had finally achieved her wish to become Mrs. Lu and could not let this woman, Xia, ruin it again. Yangju, Sister Xia has always been such a selfish person. She doesn't care about any feelings at all. Back then, I tried my best to please her, but because my parents treated me well, she framed me multiple times. Now, she's so quick to accept a fool. She must be after the Fu family's money. Why bother getting angry over a woman like her? A cold, obsessive voice of a man rang out. Very well, Xia. I always thought you were sincere to me and that you were forced into the marriage alliance. Now it seems you truly don't deserve my sympathy. One day, you will regret leaving me. Even so, he instructed his assistant to keep an eye on Xiao's movements. If she showed any signs of regret or coercion during this time, he was to rescue her immediately. He then explained to Xia, "Don't misunderstand, I just don't want her to suffer too much." Lu Yangju asked his father for permission to accompany Xia on their honeymoon. His father, thinking he wouldn't do anything extreme to embarrass the family, stopped having him watched. However, upon learning that Lu Yangju had set their honeymoon in Beicheng, Xia stormed home in a rage. "Dad, Mom, I don't know what's gotten into Lu Yangju. He was so heartless to Xia before, but now that he's suddenly lost her, he's acting all sentimental. He even insisted on having our hard-won honeymoon in Beicheng. Isn't this just an excuse to go looking for Xia?" Xia's father furrowed his brows, feeling utterly helpless. After thinking for a moment, Xia's mother advised, "This man is truly unreliable. No wonder your sister gave up on him. Daughter, it seems that if you want to secure the Lu family's fortune, the only way is to find a way to get pregnant." Xia nodded. "Mom, Dad, don't worry. I will definitely win the Lu family's business, surpass my sister, and help you expand your own enterprise." That night, Xia tampered with Lu Yangju's food and drink. Since their marriage, due to Xia's uncertain condition, Lu Yangju had been in a bad mood and had not been intimate with her. Under the influence of the drug and Xia's exceptionally gentle and considerate act, Lu Yangju finally gave in to her, in order to conceive a child for the Lu family as soon as possible. Xiaoyu served him soup and water every day, and finally, before their honeymoon, she got her wish and became pregnant. In the afternoon, Lu Yangju was booking a flight to Beicheng when Xiaoyu came to him with the pregnancy test results. "Yangju, let's cancel the honeymoon." "What do you mean? We agreed to go to Beicheng to see how she's doing. Are you really that unwilling to see her?" Lu Yangju looked up, his tone clearly impatient. "Back when I was with Xia, I never missed a chance to sneak a visit to you." Xiaoyu looked at him with grievance, tears welling up in her eyes. "Yangju, you've misunderstood me. The doctor said, I'm pregnant. The first 3 months are a critical period, and it's not advisable to travel or overexert myself." Lu Yangju was stunned. He was going to have a child. He had never imagined that one day he would become a father. He remembered the first time he had the concept of having a child was when he was with Xia. That day, she risked her life to save a little girl who was crossing the road, her shoulder brushing past a large truck, nearly losing her life. He was terrified and scolded her for taking such a risk for a stranger. Xia was also startled into a cold sweat, yet she felt a profound sense of accomplishment. In such a critical moment, there was no time to weigh the pros and cons. "Everything I did was purely instinctive. After all, won't we have children of our own someday? Consider this as accumulating blessings for our future children. The more good deeds parents do, the more peacefully and safely their children will grow up." That was the first time Lu Yangju realized he would one day become a father. Now, he was about to become one. But the mother of his child was no longer that brave and kind-hearted girl. A wave of inexplicable melancholy washed over Lu Yangju. Silently, he took the prenatal checkup report and forced a faint smile at the corners of his mouth. In the days that followed, Lu Yangju cancelled his plans to go to Beicheng and stayed behind to accompany Xiaoyu. However, he still sent people every day to inquire about Xiaoju's situation, hoping to hear even a single word that she wanted to return. As long as she spoke up, as long as she was willing to turn back, he would immediately rescue her from the misery of the Fu family. The day before the Fu family's wedding, at the moment when Lu Yangju was most restless and anxious, he heard his assistant say, "Young master, Miss Xia not only shows no regret, but she also gets along exceptionally well with the Fu family. I've never seen her laugh so happily before." The assistant's voice grew softer and softer, almost inaudible in the end, but Lu Yangju caught every single word, taking them all in. It felt as if 1,000 needles were piercing his heart, making even breathing feel like an ordeal. "Get out, all of you, get out." Lu Yangju was furious, yet he didn't even know what he was so angry about. He was about to become a father, why should he still care about her? It was just as well that she didn't come back. After all, he wasn't going to marry her anyway. This way, it would be her who had wronged him, and when they looked back on their relationship in the future, he would definitely have the upper hand, just as he had calmed down. A servant came to call him, saying that Xia Qingyu had gotten into an argument in the living room while delivering tea to Lu's father. Lu Yangju arrived at his father's living room and saw Xia Qingyu sitting on the floor, her eyes red and swollen, looking utterly disheveled. On the sofa sat Lu's father and a young man, while at the other end was a young woman with a noticeably pregnant belly. Lu Yangju helped Xia Qingyu up and couldn't help but question, "Dad, what on earth is going on? Who are these people, and how could you treat Qingyu like this?" Lu's father pointed to the man and woman on the sofa and said coldly, "Since you're here, I won't hide it from you. They are your brother and sister-in-law. Your brother is your half-brother from the same father. To avoid gossip, I've always kept him abroad. If it weren't for your lack of ambition, I wouldn't have been in such a hurry to bring him back to take over the family business. From now on, the Lu family's business will be entirely handed over to your younger brother to manage. You two should just keep enough money to support your family and live your own small lives." Lu Yangju found it unbelievable, but he didn't react hysterically. Instead, he just nodded numbly. Before Xia Zhiyue left, he had indeed cared deeply about his father's family business. Otherwise, he wouldn't have deliberately approached her just because his father recognized her talent for business. But ever since Xia Zhiyue left, he had lost all interest in the business and money he once valued so much. It was as if a once whole person had suddenly lost a part of their soul. Xia Qingyu was extremely dissatisfied with his reaction, so anxious that she spoke without thinking. "Yangju, say something. Why is Dad so biased? You need to fight for it. What do I need that little money for supporting the family? The Xia family already has that kind of money. So why would I go through all the trouble of marrying into the Lu family?" Before Lu Yangju could respond, the woman on the sofa covered her mouth and sneered, "What do you mean by that, sister-in-law? Did you marry into the Lu family just to inherit the Lu family's business?" "No, I didn't say that." Lu Yangju had almost exhausted all his energy dealing with Xia Zhiyue's affairs and had no intention of fighting over the family inheritance at the moment. He grabbed Xia Qingyu and turned to leave, but just halfway there, Xia Qingyu frantically accused him, "Lu Yangju, are you even a man, leaving without a word like this? Don't you want the Lu family's business anymore?" Xia Qingyu's intense reaction surprised him a little, but he simply attributed it to her pregnancy-induced irritability. "All right, enough of this endless complaining. Didn't Dad say he'd give us enough money to support the family? I'll try to work as much as possible in the future. How could that possibly be enough? I married into the Lu family, one of the top families in Shanghai. If we don't fight for it, what's the difference between marrying a fake tycoon?" Lu Yangju finally understood, staring at her intently. "So, you married me just for my family's wealth?" Xia Qingyu had long been dissatisfied with his inability to forget Xia Zhiyue. Now, relying on her pregnancy, she straightforwardly admitted, "That's right. I promised my parents that I would never fall short of my sister. The Xia family is a rising star with shallow roots. Now that my sister is gone, the company is in turmoil. I must secure the support of the Lu family, so you have to fight for it." Zhiyue built her business on her own abilities. But what about you? Even the only order you managed to secure was obtained by getting her drunk. Suddenly seeing the true face of the person he loved, Lu Yangju felt utterly disgusted. "It's up to you. If you can't secure the family inheritance, there's no need for this child to be born." This cunning and despicable woman actually dares to use a child to threaten him. Watching Xia Qingyu's retreating figure, Lu Yangju was filled with regret. If he had married Xia Zhiyue, she would never have cared about the family fortune, let alone used a child's life to manipulate him. Unfortunately, He had been blind, repeatedly hurting Xia for the sake of such a vicious and unworthy woman, driving her into a corner and forcing her to marry a fool. No, he could give up this child, but he absolutely could not lose Xia. This time, Lu Yangju had no more reservations. He went straight to the airport and boarded a flight to Beijing. He wanted to rescue Xia from the Fu family before her wedding, beg for her forgiveness, and then grow old with her. When the last flight landed in Beijing, it was already 2 in the morning. The autumn wind was bleak. Lu Yangju had come in a hurry, wearing only a thin t-shirt, but he had no time to buy clothes because today was the day Xia was getting married. He had to wait at the entrance the entire time. If he missed this chance to see Xia, he would regret it for the rest of his life. In the early morning, the gate of the Fu family villa slowly opened. Lu Yangju's eyes widened abruptly. The chill that had accumulated in his body overnight dissipated completely the moment he saw Xia. He opened his pale lips, and after a long while, a low, hoarse call escaped him. "Xia, don't marry." Surrounded by the crowd, Xia didn't hear Lu Yangju's weak call at all. Lu Yangju wanted to step closer, but was stopped by the bodyguards. "Who are you? How dare you disturb Miss Xia? Do you have a death wish?" Seeing so many people protecting Xia, Lu Yangju felt a bit more at ease. It meant she had been doing well these days and hadn't been bullied by the Fu family. "I am Xia's fiancé, here to take her back to Shanghai." "Oh, so you're here to cause trouble." The bodyguard immediately turned and gave a signal, and the Fu family's security personnel instantly surrounded Lu Yangju, with over a dozen fists raining down on him like a storm. "Ah, help, help." The cries startled Xia, who walked over holding up the hem of her wedding dress and asked in confusion, "What's going on? Why are you hitting someone on such a joyous day?" The bodyguard who had spoken earlier replied truthfully, "Miss Xia, last time you instructed us that anyone from Shanghai who comes to the Fu family to cause trouble should be driven out. Besides, this person even dared to claim to be your fiancé." Xia immediately understood and turned to leave, saying, "Then he certainly deserves to be beaten. Remember to drive him far away, don't let him dirty the newly laid red carpet." Suddenly catching sight of Xia's figure, Lu Yangju, as if drawing strength from nowhere, broke free from the crowd's restraint and rushed over, tightly grasping her hand. Blood trickled from the corner of Lu Yangju's mouth, yet his face was filled with a smile. "Xia, I've finally found you. I've already signed the divorce agreement with Qingyu. As long as you come back with me, I'll marry you right away." Xia was so angry she laughed, forcefully shaking off his hand, enunciating each word clearly. "Lu Yangju, what makes you think I'm still willing to marry you? Back then, for Qingyu, you teamed up with the Xia family to hurt me repeatedly. What kind of nonsense are you spouting now? I'm not foolish enough to abandon a good life just to go back and be used by you again. No, that's not it, Xia. I was blind before, believing Qingyu's lies. I regret it now. And I finally understand the one I've always loved is you. Without you, I simply can't go on living." "Stop saying such angry words. Okay, you love me so much, how could you possibly not want to marry me? I came here this time to apologize to you in person. Xia, let's forget the past and start over. I promise I'll make it up to you properly." Xia straightened her wedding dress, which he had messed up, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "Whether you can go on living or not has nothing to do with me. As for what you owe me, I remember every bit of it. I don't need you to make it up to me, I'll settle the score myself in due time. Lu Yangju, before my fiancé arrives, you'd better leave on your own, otherwise, if you anger him, it's hard to say whether you'll make it back to Shanghai safely." The words "my fiancé" pierced Lu Yangju's heart like a sharp thorn. This title, which once belonged to him, was now given by her to someone else. Despite his battered and bruised body, he insisted, "I don't believe it, you're just saying that out of anger. I am your real fiancé. If that fool from the Fu family truly treated you well, why have you lost so much weight? Besides, the climate here is dry and cold. Unlike the humid heat of the south, you must not be used to it either. How could you possibly have a good life here?" Lu Yangju remembered that Xia was most afraid of the cold. Every year, before winter even arrived, he would instruct people to enter the cold preparation mode in advance, adjusting the glass in her office to a constant temperature, setting her chair and carpet to heating mode, and even having her slippers warmed at home before she wore them. She had long grown accustomed to his care. How could she adapt to such a bitterly cold place all of a sudden? Xia looked at him, her eyes filled with disdain. Cold, no matter how cold it is. Can it be colder than a freezer? When you teamed up with the Xia family to send me into that freezer, why didn't you remember that I was afraid of the cold? Fu Daodao, standing beside Xia, couldn't listen any longer and angrily retorted, "You make it sound so easy." Sister Jiwa's stomach was damaged from the cold in the freezer back then. When she came to Beicheng, she could only survive on nutrient fluids. How could she not have lost weight, if it weren't for my brother's careful care? You wouldn't even be able to see her now. Yes, back then, what was wrong with him? How could he have just stood by and watched her freeze in the cold storage all night? She was always so afraid of the cold. How did she endure that long, freezing night? Lu Yangju grew more and more distressed the more he thought about it. Tears streamed uncontrollably down his face. He hated himself for failing to see Xia Qingyu's true nature and for hurting the person he loved most. Xia didn't want to say another word to him and signaled the bodyguards to drive him away. Lu Yangju knelt beside her, clutching the hem of her dress and pleading, "Xia, you don't have to forgive me. Didn't you want to settle accounts with me? Then come back with me, and you can punish me however you like. Today, no matter what, I won't allow you to marry a fool." "Oh, who said I'm a fool?" Lu Yangju looked up in shock, meeting the speaker's eyes, which were as bright as a sky full of stars. Who are you?" Fu Yunkuan didn't answer. Instead, he stepped forward, pried open Lu Yenzhou's hand, which was clutching Xiaoju's skirt, and gave it a forceful twist. Lu Yenzhou's wrist snapped instantly. Ignoring Lu Yenzhou's agonized cries, Fu Yunkuan asked gently, "Darling, were you scared?" Xiaoju shook her head, affectionately holding onto his arm. "I wasn't scared back then, and now that I have you, what is there to fear?" Hearing their conversation, Lu Yangju felt as if struck by lightning. The pain in his wrist suddenly surged to his heart, tearing through his internal organs like a sharp blade. You are Fu Yunkuan, aren't you a fool? How, this can't be." He was so shocked he could barely utter a complete sentence. Fu Yunkuan sneered disdainfully, "Do you believe whatever others say? Don't you have your own judgment?" Lu Yangju forced himself to calm down. "Even if you're not a fool, Jiwa won't like you. She's only known you for a few months, while we've had 5 years of feelings. What makes you think you can compare to me?" Fu Yunkuan, always confident, naturally wouldn't be provoked by his words. "Can't compare. Then why didn't she leave with you? Are 5 years of feelings that deep? If it was really as good as you say, why did Jiwa come to me covered in injuries? You were unfaithful in love, and now you blame me for taking her from you. How laughable. Why don't you ask Jiwa yourself, after experiencing how good I am? Do you think she'd still spare you a second glance?" Jiwa gave Fu Yunkuan an approving glance, then said coldly, "Lu Yangju, whatever feelings I had for you in the past vanished the moment you betrayed me. Now, I love only Yunkuan. You never loved me before, and now that I have Yunkuan, I have no need for your belated affection." As she spoke, she urged, "Hurry up and leave. Don't delay our auspicious moment." Worried that Xiaoju might be standing too long, Fu Yunkuan threatened, "If you don't get out now, do you believe I can turn you into a real fool?" Lu Yangju slumped to the ground, muttering like a madman. "No, it can't be. I can't let Jiwa marry you. She loves me. She always has. I was wrong. I shouldn't have pushed Jiwa off the engagement banquet stage, shouldn't have killed her beloved cat, and shouldn't have cut her arm. What? How dare you bully my wife like this?" Fu Yunkuan was heartbroken and furious. Kicking Lu Yangju in the chest, with a heavy thud, Lu Yangju tumbled down, rolling all the way to the bottom of the long staircase in front of the Fu family's house. When he looked back, Fu Yunkuan's eyes were red. "Darling, I never imagined you suffered so much. I truly regret not bringing you to Beicheng sooner." Xiaoju smiled indifferently and comforted, "It's all in the past. If they hadn't been so heartless back then, I wouldn't have left the Xia family and met you. Let's go, don't let the past ruin our happiness." After saying that, Xiaoju didn't forget to turn back and instruct the bodyguards, "First lock Lu Yangju up, and after the wedding, tie him back to Shanghai. Also, find some media to take photos and properly report on how he disrupted the Fu family's wedding." Just as Xiaoju was about to step up, a sudden force at her waist lifted her into Fu Yunkuan's arms. "Wife, with me here, no one will ever be able to bully you again." After being confined in Beicheng for 3 days, Lu Yangju was sent back. The Fu family security personnel kicked Lu Yangju out of the car, tightly bound by ropes. He fell at the entrance of the Lu family villa, unable to get up again. Just as he hit the ground, a swarm of media personnel rushed over, pointing their cameras at Lu Yangju and continuously filming him. A reporter pressed for answers. "May I ask who you are? Why are you treating the Lu family's young master this way?" The Fu family bodyguard patiently explained. "We are from the Fu family of North City. It's not that we are being unreasonable, but Lu Yangju is being utterly unreasonable. Insisting on disrupting the wedding of our young master and Miss Xia. We had no choice but to bring him back by force." As soon as these words were spoken, the journalists who were aware of the inside story began to discuss among themselves. Xia, isn't she Lu Yangju's first girlfriend? He abandoned Xia back then to marry her sister, so why is he now trying to ruin her wedding? That's right, he's clearly already married, yet he still can't let go and disturbs others. How shameless. Could it be that he wants both of them? I heard Xia Qingyu is already pregnant, and Lu Yangju is backing out now. What a complete scumbag. Soon, news of Lu Yangju's change of heart during marriage, his disruption of his ex-girlfriend's wedding, and the Xia group's expulsion of their adopted daughter Xia from the family trended on social media, causing the stocks of both the Lu and Xia families to plummet. Furious, Lu's father immediately hired a lawyer, severed ties with Lu Yangju, gave him a sum of money, and completely expelled him from the Lu family. Battered and bruised, Lu Yangju had nowhere to go. Using the money his father gave him, he hired a few bodyguards and headed straight for the Xia family. He wants to seek justice for the suffering Xia once endured. Xia's father and mother are overwhelmed with company matters, leaving only Xia Qingyu at home, upon learning that Lu Yangju had been expelled from the Lu family. Xia Qingyu immediately signed the divorce agreement and publicly announced their separation. Now, seeing that Lu Yangju still dares to come see her, she angrily scolds, "Lu Yangju, how dare you show your face here? If I had known you were so useless, why would I have bothered carrying your child? Get out of here. I've already scheduled an abortion. A worthless person like you doesn't deserve to have me bear your child, and a child with your bloodline doesn't deserve to come into this world." Lu Yangju didn't care at all what she said. He stepped forward, pinched her chin, and said fiercely, "I've been secretly investigating and questioning many people these days. It turns out that Xia never harmed you. It was all an act you put on. You deliberately stirred things up, making me think Xia had ill intentions and believe you were innocent. That's why I hurt Xia again and again, causing her to be utterly heartbroken and leave me. You are the root cause of all this." With the help of the household staff, Xia Qingyu struggled to push him away. "So what if it is? Lu Yangju, from start to finish, I've been using you, using your money, using your family background. Now that you have nothing left, I might as well tell you, that day, I deliberately set the dog on Xia and sprayed pepper spray on her leg, just to see her suffer. The funeral clothes at the wedding shop were also intentionally given to her by me. Along with the needle, it was all just my act of self-harm. I never expected you to fall for it so easily. Oh, and this broken bracelet of yours," Xia Qingyu said, picking up the bracelet from a pile of pet toys and casually tossing it to the ground, shattering it. "Do you really think I care about this filthy thing? I just wanted to provoke Xia, but I never expected you to play along so willingly." Lu Yangju's breathing grew increasingly rapid as he recalled how, for the sake of this malicious woman, he had personally killed her beloved pet, humiliated her in front of everyone, and even used scissors to cut her flesh. He is such a scoundrel. A single phrase of regret is no longer enough to describe his feelings. He must avenge Xia immediately. "Since you've confessed truthfully, don't blame me." Xia Qingyu looked at him smugly. "Ha, threatening me? Don't forget, this is the Xia family. You're all alone, what can you possibly do?" Lu Yangju spoke word by word, his gaze sinister. "Whatever you did to Xia, I'll do the same to you, not a single thing left out." As soon as he finished speaking, he clapped his hands sharply, and several heavily paid bodyguards immediately rushed into the room. Strong, burly men pinned down Xia Qingyu, then took out numerous syringe needles and jabbed them into her legs. Xia Qingyu screamed in terror, crying and shouting for help, but all the servants at home had hidden away, and her phone had been taken. Who could save her now? The Xia family had always treated them harshly. In a moment of crisis, They would rather lose their jobs than risk saving their master. Lu Yangju turned and went to the kitchen. After a short while, he returned with a large bottle of pepper spray, continuously spraying it onto Xia Qingyu's fresh, bleeding wound. How does it feel? Think about Jiwa's condition back then. Isn't this exactly how you harmed her? Since you enjoy being stabbed, I'll let you have your fill. Xia Qingyu fainted from the pain, only to be jolted awake by fresh agony. Lu Yangju, do you even know what you're doing? These people have been in this line of work for years, taking on all kinds of jobs with ease, and they know exactly how to keep their hands clean. So, instead of wasting your energy worrying about me, you'd better save your strength to keep from dying in the cold storage. What? Was he really going to lock her in the cold storage? This time, Xia Qingyu was truly terrified. Continuously admitting her mistakes and begging him to let her go, Lu Yangju was determined to avenge Xia Zhiyue, so he remained unmoved. Xia Qingyu couldn't help but cry out. I'm not the only one who hurt Xia Zhiyue. What about you? Why should all the blame fall on me? Lu Yenzhou's gaze grew distant as he glanced toward the cold storage, his voice so low it was almost inaudible. Of course not. The cold she endured, I should taste it too, not a single degree less. After speaking, he ordered the cold storage door to be opened and locked both himself and Xia Qingyu inside. Before the door closed, he instructed the bodyguards to capture Xia's parents as soon as they returned and throw them into the cold storage as well. After nightfall, the Xia family's gate was tightly shut, with bodyguards keeping watch over the servants, while Lu Yangju remained in the cold storage, observing Xia Qingyu and her parents, who had just returned home. By this time, Xia Qingyu's lips had turned deathly pale from the cold, her face covered in frost. Please, let me out, I was wrong. Don't you like children? I'll give birth to it. Okay, if this goes on, it will freeze to death inside me. I want it to freeze to death. Lu Yenzhou's tone was terrifyingly calm. You're right, a child of mine and yours doesn't deserve to live. How could he and Xia Qingyu, who had hurt Xia Zhiyue so much, be worthy of having a child? The bone-chilling cold in the freezer made Lu Yangju truly understand what it meant to feel as if he had fallen into an icy abyss. The thought of Xia Zhiyue suffering alone here made his heart ache more than his body. Xia Qingyu was so desperate that she couldn't help but turn to her parents, who were holding each other, for help. Dad, Mom, please save me. I'm really cold. You just came in, can you give me your clothes to wear? Xia's mother immediately pushed her away. You selfish brat, how dare you try to take your parents' clothes? If it weren't for you deliberately harming Zhiyue, why would we be locked up here? We did have some affection for Zhiyue back then, but it was you who secretly stirred things up, making us misunderstand her again and again, forcing us to drive her away. Father Xia glared fiercely at Xia Qingyu. You're nothing but a jinx. When Zhiyue was in the company, our family's business kept growing. But as soon as you took over, the stock plummeted. The Xia family is going to be ruined by you. Father Xia turned to Mother Xia and said, once we get out, we should cut ties with her too. After all, she's a daughter raised by outsiders and doesn't truly carry the Xia family blood. She's not as good as Zhiyue, who was raised in the Xia family and is much closer to us. What a pity. Mother Xia nodded repeatedly, showing not a trace of reluctance toward her own biological daughter. Seeing them fight like dogs, Lu Yangju found it both laughable and pitiful. The family that Xia Zhiyue once genuinely cared for turned out to be such a disgraceful sight. Even blood-related kin were no better than this. When it came to their own personal interests, they disregarded everything else. At this moment, he actually felt a sense of relief, grateful that Zhiyue had left the Xia family and was no longer bound by such cold and selfish relatives. After being rejected, Xia Qingyu suddenly laughed. Ha, what kind of wealthy family? The life of the rich is nothing more than this. All my efforts to become Xia Qingyu's substitute were in vain. Mr. and Mrs. Xia were startled and stared at her in shock. What do you mean? Xia Qingyu's laughter was bitter, yet tinged with a triumphant satisfaction after exacting revenge. Since you are so heartless, I might as well tell you the truth. That DNA report is fake. I am not your daughter at all. The real Xia Qingyu is already dead. How is that possible? We clearly verified it. The person who provided you with the proof received a lot of benefits from me. That's why I was so eager to join the company and make money. Although my business talent may not match Xia Zhiyue's, I'm not as incompetent as you think. It's just that, I never intended to put some of that money into the Xia family's accounts." Xia's father and mother were so enraged that they lost their senses and rushed forward together to kick and beat Xia Qingyu. Xia Qingyu, being pregnant and injured, miscarried after just a few moments, although Mr. and Mrs. Xia felt a sense of relief. They soon thought about the loss of their capable and filial adopted daughter, the death of their unfortunate biological daughter, the imminent bankruptcy of their family, and being confined by the mad young master of the Lu family. Overwhelmed with anxiety and distress, they both fainted. The next day, Lu Yangju settled the fees with the bodyguards and, despite his weak condition, managed to send all the Xia family members to the hospital. Without Xia Zhiwe's permission, he couldn't actually take anyone's life. In this way, he had helped her seek revenge. As for himself, spending just one night in the cold storage was certainly not enough punishment. He was going to find Xia Zhiwe and atone for his sins in person. When he arrived in Beicheng again, Lu Yangju didn't rush to appear at the Fu family's doorstep as he had before. This time, he wanted to leave a good impression on Xia Zhiwe. After scouting the terrain for several days, Lu Yangju opened a cat cafe on the street Xia Zhiwe frequented the most. The spacious cat cafe housed only 6 cats, all sharing a common trait. They were all black and looked almost identical to Xia Zhiwe's cat, Tang Tang. In addition to raising cats, he also learned to brew wine, specifically the sugar-free white wine that Xia Zhiwe loved the most. He intended to decorate every corner of the cat cafe exactly as Xia Zhiwe would like, hoping to attract her here and finally meet her. That day, Lu Yangju fed the cat and tidied up the room as usual. After preparing the peach blossom pastry, Xia Zhiwe's favorite dessert, the door of the cat cafe suddenly opened. A familiar voice instantly filled his ears. "Can I pet your kitten? It looks so much like the one I used to have." Lu Yangju's hands, which had been arranging the peach blossom pastries, suddenly froze, and he slowly looked up. Xia Zhiwe was crouched on the ground, gently stroking the little black cat beneath her fingers. "Boss, your cat is so adorable. What's its name?" "Zhiwe." Lu Yangju suppressed the excitement in his heart and softly called out to her. Xia Zhiwe's hand suddenly paused. When she turned and saw Lu Yangju, the light in her eyes instantly dimmed. "Sorry to disturb." Xia Zhiwe stood up and left. Just as my hand grasped the doorknob, Lu Yangju held it back. "Don't go, Zhiwe. I've waited for you for half a year, just for the chance of a reunion, and indeed, you came. My efforts weren't in vain." "Lu Yangju, if I had known this was your shop, I would never have stepped inside. This kind of reunion isn't fate, it's deception." Xia Zhiwe couldn't break free from his grip. With a cold expression and a tone of annoyance, she said, "Also, I'm no longer called Xia Zhiwe. Everything from the past has nothing to do with me. I'm already married, so please don't disturb me anymore." Lu Yangju didn't respond to her words, continuing on his own. "What a wonderful day it is today. The wine I brewed is just ready to drink, and there's also your favorite peach blossom pastry. I failed to make it successfully the last few times, but perhaps knowing you were coming, I managed to make it today. Zhiwe, look, how much Tang Tang likes you. She must still remember that you are her owner, being so affectionate with you. She's not usually like this with me." Xia Zhiwe impatiently interrupted him. "Enough, Lu Yangju. Do you even know what you're saying? Tang Tang is already dead." She tried to push the door open with her other hand but was stopped by Lu Yangju. He locked the door and pulled down the shop's rolling shutter. "What do you want to do?" Xia Zhiwe's pupils contracted slightly as she stared at him warily. Lu Yangju's expression stiffened. "Zhiwe, you're afraid of me. You never used to be like this before, but now is not before." Xia Zhiwe retorted with disgust. "Let me out now. When my husband finds me, he will never let you off." Lu Yangju's gaze gradually darkened. "I'm not afraid. We haven't broken up yet. So you're still my girlfriend. No one can stop us from seeing each other." Realizing that Lu Yangju was probably somewhat deranged, Xia Zhiwe didn't dare to say anything more. She took out her phone to send a message to Fu Yunkuan, but it was snatched away by Lu Yangju. "Zhiwe, don't worry, I will never hurt you again. I just want to spend a little more time with you." Seeing her quiet down, Lu Yangju smiled again and helped her sit on the sofa. "I know Tang Tang is dead, so I want to give you many Tang Tangs in return. Do you know, I helped you get revenge on Xia Qingyu. She's still lying in the hospital and will never be able to get out of bed for the rest of her life. Last time I said I wanted to make it up to you, since you won't come with me, I'll come to you. Everything I do is just to make you happy." The entire afternoon, Lu Yangju was busy running around, bringing out carefully prepared gifts, flowers, cookies, and red wine. Xia found it all laughable. Back when she had genuinely cared for him, he had deceived her time and again, making her the laughingstock of the entire city. Now that she had moved on, he was acting like a madman, tricking her into coming here and refusing to let go. Truly pitiful. Xia curled her lips into a mocking smile. "Lu Yangju, your way of atonement is far too simple, isn't it?" Lu Yangju nodded. He had long been prepared to harm himself. He took out a sharp knife and slashed it fiercely across his own arm. Blood dripped from the tip of the knife, and the muscles on Lu Yangju's face trembled uncontrollably, yet he wore a smile. "Xia, I regret so much not cherishing you. That's why I made myself freeze in the cold storage for a night and jumped from the engagement banquet stage that day, just to atone for my sins. Now, I've finally avenged you for everything. Are you willing to forgive me?" "Of course." Xia suppressed the disgust in her heart, pretending to be moved. "Yangju, can you take me away from Beicheng? Fu Yunkuan will come looking for me soon. Let's leave now." "Okay." Lu Yangju was somewhat surprised, but he firmly believed that Xia still loved him, that she had been forced into marrying into the Fu family, so he agreed immediately. Ignoring the wound on his arm, he packed a few essentials and led Xia out of the cat cafe. The first thing Xia saw was Fu Yunkuan, who was on the other side of the road, asking passers-by for news about her. Xia forcefully pushed Lu Yangju away and quickly ran toward Fu Yunkuan's direction. "Yunkuan, save me." Hearing the call, Fu Yunkuan immediately turned around. Just as they embraced, a speeding car lost control and crashed toward them in the middle of the road. Lu Yangju instantly dashed forward, forcefully pushing them aside. After a dull thud, Lu Yangju collapsed in a pool of blood. Hearing the noise, the Fu family's bodyguards rushed over and helped Fu Yunkuan and Xia to a safe place. Repeatedly frightened, Xia burst into tears, immediately checking Fu Yunkuan's condition. Upon seeing his arm covered in blood from the abrasion, her voice trembled uncontrollably. Yunkuan, I'm fine. Don't cry, it's okay." Fu Yunkuan held Xia tightly in his arms, afraid that his negligence might cause her harm again. In the distance, Lu Yangju lay on the ground, covered in wounds and weak. Yet his gaze never left Xia. Seeing that she was safe and sound, he smiled. But upon noticing how concerned she was about Fu Yunkuan and how she never once glanced at him from start to finish, his smile gradually froze, then turned into a self-mocking expression. So, she had been lying. She was so afraid of him that she would risk running into traffic just to get away from him. He finally understood what it meant to be in unbearable pain. At that moment, it felt as if his heart was being torn apart, and he fainted from the excruciating agony he had never experienced before. When Lu Yangju woke up again, he found himself in an empty hospital room. A nurse came to inform him of his condition. "Mr. Lu, you were hit by a car, resulting in internal bleeding and multiple fractures throughout your body. Fortunately, you are now out of the critical period. Mr. Fu asked me to relay that he will cover your medical expenses. But since the incident was caused by you, he does not feel grateful. He hopes you will take care of yourself and leave Beicheng as soon as you recover." "Mr. Fu, what about Xia? Didn't she come to see me?" "Who is Xia?" The nurse sounded a bit impatient. "She's Fu Yunkuan's wife." Lu Yangju reluctantly explained. "Oh, you mean Miss Xia? I heard she changed her name, taking her biological parents' surname, and is now called Shananyue. No wonder she said she could never go back to the way things were before. It turns out she had already made up her mind to bid farewell to the past and wanted to completely forget him." Lu Yangju stared blankly toward the door, recalling the scene from the last time he was in a car accident. He lay in the hospital bed, and when Xia got the news and rushed over, her eyes were red from crying. She wiped the bloodstains from his face with heartache. Blaming herself for not being by his side during the most dangerous moment, she fed him porridge and promised him that she would never turn off her phone again, so he could always reach her at a moment's notice. She even set her number as his emergency contact, wanting to be aware of his safety at all times. But now, outside the door, aside from the medical staff coming and going, there was no longer any sign of Xia, unwilling to give up. He took out his phone and continued dialing the number he knew by heart. "Sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service." He had heard this sentence countless times, yet he never gave up hope, fantasizing that one day she would forgive him and return to his side. But this time, he finally woke up to the reality that Xia, who had once loved him deeply, would never come back. She is now Shenanue, another man's wife. A wave of warmth streaked across his face. Lu Yangju realized he was crying again, but he didn't wipe the tears away, letting them run wild. It turned out that after losing the person he loved most, he didn't even have the strength to lift a hand. After the previous dangerous incident, Fu Yunkuan specially assigned a personal bodyguard to Shenanue and stayed by her side almost around the clock, hardly ever leaving her. In the more than a year since their marriage, they had also spent over a year on their honeymoon. Just as Fu Yunkuan was drawing and sketching on the map, planning their next destination, Shenanue wrapped her arms around his, her tone affectionate. "Darling, there's a pile of business waiting for us back home. Are we still going to play?" Fu Yunkuan looked at her with concern. "Are you really up for it? I know you love work and business as much as I do, but I'm afraid you'll push yourself too hard." "Of course I am. Back when I worked through injuries, I still pulled all-nighters." Seeing Fu Yunkuan's gradually tightening brow, Shenanue realized she had said the wrong thing and quickly changed the subject, raising her hand as if taking an oath. "Well, I promised to listen to my husband. Be careful, extra careful, no overtime, no staying up late, eat on time, and never let myself get tired, hungry, or thirsty." Fu Yunkuan was amused by her and interrupted her vow, pulling her into his embrace. "All right, I knew you'd want to work once you've had your fill of fun. Take a closer look, what's under this map of mine?" Shenanue flipped open the map to check and discovered that underneath was an acquisition document. The companies being acquired were none other than the Xia Group and the Lu Group. This time, she was genuinely surprised and quickly asked, "Are they really going bankrupt?" "That's right. Ever since you left the Xia Group, many major shareholders have withdrawn their investments. On top of that, Xia Qingyu is now in a vegetative state. And the money she transferred away can't be recovered. As for the Lu family, they were originally doing fairly well, and negative news couldn't shake their foundation. Who would have thought that the newly appointed heir, completely unfamiliar with domestic rules, would create a mess in just over half a year and then run away? Take a closer look. Who is the planner behind this acquisition proposal?" Shenanue followed the direction of his finger and saw two familiar words, which suddenly brought tears to her eyes. "Mingqiu, it's Mingqiu, honey, thank you, you're truly wonderful." Shenanue was both excited and overjoyed. It turns out, Fu Yunkuan knew everything. He understood her so well, even paying such close attention to her most cherished friends. "Silly, I have my own selfish motives. By poaching her, you'll have a much easier time and more opportunities to stay by my side." Half a month later, they arrived in Shanghai and successfully completed the acquisition. Shenanue had initially worried that she wouldn't be able to handle such a major project, but with Mingqiu as her capable assistant and the mature team from the Fu family, she actually found the work easier than her previous tasks at the Xia family, especially Fu Yunkuan. It turns out he's not only handsome in appearance, but his serious demeanor at work makes him even more attractive. Just as Shenanue was busy at her new company, two familiar figures suddenly appeared in her line of sight. "Xia, Mr. and Mrs. Xia exclaimed excitedly, "Our dear daughter, you've finally returned. Mom and Dad have missed you so much. We couldn't reach you by phone, and when we went to the Fu family to look for you, we were turned away at the door. You have no idea how much I miss you." Seeing Xiao's cold and distant gaze, Xia's father and mother quickly admitted their mistake. "Mom and Dad were wrong. We were blind, deceived by that imposter, and caused you to be wronged and suffer so much. Now, you are our only daughter. Can you forgive us and continue to be our daughter?" "No," Shenanue answered coldly, without a trace of nostalgia for the past familial affection. "When you agreed to send me to the Fu family for a marriage alliance, I had already decided to completely sever ties with you. As for the abuse you inflicted on me later, I wasn't heartbroken. I simply considered it as repaying your kindness in raising me. Now that everything has been repaid, I owe you nothing. In fact, if we really dig into it, it's your Xia family that has gained many benefits from me. So, stop shamelessly calling me your daughter. If I were truly destitute and miserable now, Would you still say these things today, Mr. and Mrs. Xia still wanted to argue, but Fu Yunkuan stopped them. Someone. Throw them out. Watching their disheveled figures retreat, Shenanue felt no ripple of emotion in her heart. Her biological parents had long passed away, and the Xia couple had no genuine affection for her. They simply wanted someone to use in their time of need. In the first half of her life, she had encountered no good people. Fortunately, in the days to come, she met someone willing to accompany her with sincerity. In the days that followed, she and Fu Yunkuan managed affairs in both Beicheng and Hucheng simultaneously. Though they often traveled for work, their high efficiency and shared passion made it feel not the least bit tiring. Moreover, the actual time she needed to work each year was less than half a year. For the rest of the time, Fu Yunkuan took her on motorcycle rides and participated in various outdoor activities, making life colorful. During a riding competition, Shenanue was accelerating to overtake a preset obstacle. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind swept by, causing the obstacle to collapse. Shenanue had to brake urgently. The bike barely came to a stop, but she lost control and fell to the ground. Fu Yunkuan would arrive in a while. Shenanue tried hard to support herself, but the bike was too heavy. Despite her great effort, she couldn't get up. Just as she was growing anxious, a slightly limping figure approached her. The newcomer helped her lift her bike and assisted her to a temporary rest area by the roadside. At first, Shenanue thought he was a staff member at the track, but seeing him dressed in an inconspicuous grey outfit, without even a helmet and wearing a tight mask, she couldn't help but feel puzzled. "Thank you for helping me. May I ask who you are? Why are you alone on the track?" The man's figure paused for a moment, not answering immediately. Instead, he twisted open a bottle of mineral water and placed it beside Shenanue. "Stay safe," a simple phrase, as if suppressing some intense emotion, yet it also felt somewhat familiar. Through the helmet, Shenanue couldn't hear clearly and asked again, "I think I've heard your voice before. Who are you? Do you know me?" The man didn't answer again, immediately turned around, and left. After walking a few steps, he waved his hand behind his back to her, then disappeared from sight. Are you okay?" Fu Yunkuan arrived just in time, anxiously asking about her condition. Shenanue shook her head. "I'm fine. There was just a strange person who helped me." "What strange person?" "Nothing. Probably just a passerby." After saying that, the two of them rested briefly before getting back on the motorcycle. Not far away, Lu Yenzhou's gaze remained fixed on Shenanue. He knew he no longer had the right to acknowledge her. I hope his silent guardianship won't disrupt her happy life.